Johnny, won't you come on home? What is wrong in my life that I must get drunk every night? Johnny. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. A friend of mine recently sent me some of this crazy stuff. I've never heard of it before, I've never even seen it before. It's called Polypan F, a 50 ISO speed film, and I can't really find much online about it other than I've seen it sold in 100-foot tins, which I believe are already pre-rolled by someone else from a larger tin. It's a Polypan F. So I've already shot these 2 rolls of film, and I'll show you that in a moment of where I went and the photographs I've got. I've yet to develop them, so after I show you the scenes where I was, I'll show you some of the development that I'll be doing in Rodinal. But let's have a look at quickly look at one of the films. One thing I have learned about this film during this edit is that I was talking to my friend Crimson Obscura on Instagram, and he said check the sprocket holes of the film. Do they look different to any other film other than movie film, such as FP4, HP5, Tri-X, etc, etc, and they do. A bit more research and I found that movie films such as Oro, Kodak XX have a different shaped sprocket hole, and so does Polypan F. So we now know that this is some kind of movie film. Cheers mate. This is already exposed, and apparently there's no anti-elation layer on it, so it's pretty basic. But is it any good? I don't know. I've shot one roll yesterday around the house using the Nikon F6, and for me this is a great camera to test out films because I know that the light meter inside is absolutely flawless. So any problems with the negatives exposure wise, it's going to be either the development, but it's certainly not going to be the camera. So that's why I use a Nikon F6 to test out film stuff, and then from there on I can use this film in other cameras. But the film base has got no anti-elation layer. You can see it, it's kind of like this light coloured turquoisey blue colour. It's on a polyester base, so the film is actually quite tough as opposed to FP4 or HP5, which is on an acetate base, I believe, a different base. You can literally cut that off with your teeth, but this stuff is just like, you can't really tear it. Let's have a go. It's tough, you see, look at that. It's quite tough. And I shot these today around the town. I had a puncture recently in my car. I was right gutted, so I had to go to the tyre place. But lo and behold, my wife had a hairdresser's appointment beforehand. So I took her to the hairdresser's, went off to the tyre place, and I thought I'll go and shoot these 2 rolls around the industrial estate. I'll show you the video, what I was shooting, and I'll show you the pictures of what these films contain as we go along. Oh, I'll just take a picture of the pumps there.
Oh, okay, mate. Yeah.
Sorry, mate, yeah. Health and safety.
Yeah, you know that,
I think I'm a right weirdo. Take a picture of that wheel. No parking, £10 fine. That ain't bad for a day's parking, is it? Have some of that. Alright chaps.
Alright. Check the video, boss. Hey Johnny, we're sorry. Wow, cheers, man.
Industrial estates are also a decent place to come if if you're stuck for ideas or whatever, or you're having a bit of a slump in your photography. Go for a walk around an industrial estate. Best to do it. Today's midweek, but best to do it maybe on a Sunday or something when it's all closed. unless you fancy shooting people that are working, then so be it. We are done. I've got a new tyre, I've got a puncture repaired, and the most important thing is I've got that spazzy tyre off the car, and I've shot the film. So I've got to go get my wife from the hairdressers. Let's see what she's up to. I might take some pictures in there. Might be a little bit too low light for that 50 ISO. I might have to push it. Looking good, Em, looking good.
Oh, it's brilliant.
So you guys have already seen the photographs. Hopefully they've come out all right. I don't know what they look like yet, but I've kind of like zoomed in time for you guys to see the photographs. But I'm just about to develop these. I'll quickly show you the development process, and then we'll get on with seeing what they look like on paper under the enlarger. Okay, so there's my two films ready to go onto the spools. They're the leader there, so I'm not worried about getting light on that in a moment. I'm going to turn all the lights off, ratchet these onto the reels, put them in the tank, and then I'll turn the lights back on and show you guys a little bit of the Rodinal. So let's get this film developed. I can go onto the massive dev chart, select my film. I was surprised it came up. I didn't think it would come up, but it did. And this is a great online source for anyone looking for development times for their films, if you'd never heard of it. There it is there, Polypan F. Let's click on that. All developers, let's have a look. Rodinal I'm using, so I'll come all the way down to Rodinal. There it is there. And search. And it will give me times here. I shot it at 50 ISO. There it is there. 1 part to 50 I'm going. So it says 13 minutes. Polypan F, Rodinal, 1 part to 50, 50 ISO. I shot it at 13 minutes. So that's what we're going to develop for. So I decided in the end to use 800ml of solution. I might have a little bit left, but at least I know then the tank is filled right up because I've got two films in there. 800 divided by 50 comes out at 16. So 784 millilitres of water, 16 ml of Rodinal. So there's my gauge there. Temperature of my water is on 20 degrees, bang on. And I've got this manky old, I'll use this manky old, I should get a new one really, look, I can hardly see it. But, hey, well, lucky it's plastic. And if you've never used Rodinal before, this stuff lasts ages. It turns out clear when you first buy it, and then after a while, once it's been, you know, been consumed to the air a little bit, it starts going dark. But this stuff literally lasts, this could easily last a year, I reckon, as it is there and still be usable. So let's put 16 ml in. In goes my Rodinal to make 800 millilitres. Lovely jubbly. Give it a stir. Be careful if you're going to use your thermometer. You don't want that breaking off in there. So I'm going to use my phone for my timer. I've got in there 13 minutes. I'll put this cloth down because these old tanks can leak sometimes. In it goes. I'll probably have a little bit left over. Start the clock and I'll agitate that for the first 30 seconds. This is what I did on a test film that I did last night indoors. I ran around with this little tiny Olympus flash. Took photographs of my daughter selling her wax melts on TikTok. Then I went and developed the film in Rodinal, and this is the way I developed it. 30 seconds to start, and then I did 5 inversions every minute on the minute. And that was at 25 ISO. I read online that some people get best results from this at 25. Other people were completely slating the film, saying it was just totally rubbish, you know. That'll do. First 30 seconds. This was from the Film Photography Lab, so they've obviously Film Photography Project, sorry, and they obviously got loads of tins and spooled it out and called it Polypan F. You can see there the little bit of tape that they've used to re-spool. I'll reuse these cans here for my own bulk stuff, Kodak Tri-X and Oro and T-Max, and also Kemir 400 I've got as well. So I'll reuse these spools, but depends on, you know, last night when I was taking the photographs around my house with that little flash, I'll show you that flash, where is it? Little tiny cheap flash from Olympus. I bought this years ago, it only cost about 20 quid. It's ideal for my Olympus OM20, but you can use it in manual and put it on your cameras. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can put this in manual and use it on your cameras, you know, just select the sync speed of your camera, and then on the back you've got little adjustments. It tells you what ISO you're shooting and what aperture you should be at so many meters. So it kind of worked quite well. I was quite impressed with the film. You know, we'll soon see from today's shots. That was at 25. Today I shot these at 50 ISO outside, as you already saw. But I'd be more interested to see, those are scans, I'd be more interested to see how a couple of these print, so I'll show you that in a moment. So anyway guys, I'm going to skip through the video now, show you a bit more stuff, and get on with some printing. Whee! Time's up. So get rid of this developer. Get all that out there. Okay, that has to be thrown away, I can't use that again. In goes the stop bath, so I'll just stop this. I usually stop for a minute. I think on websites it says 30 seconds, blah blah blah, but I always go for a minute continuous, always have done. So I'll just do this for a whole minute of stopping. And all these chemicals are at 20 degrees, they're all matching the same. Now for the fix, I use FOTOSPEED's FX, stop. FOTOSPEED's FX30, which is an alkaline fixer, or odorless fixer as they call it. This stuff is perfect for the pyro that I use, so it doesn't take the stain away. And I'll do this for 5 minutes. So this will now fix, stabilise the film, take away any unexposed silver. And I'm doing this actually for 6 minutes, I'm fixing, because I've been using this fixer for a few rolls now. Shouldn't be exhausted. So these are the first set of negatives where I was running around that industrial park there while I was having my tyres done. They come out okay. 1 part to 50 in Rodinal. I could have chosen other developers, but I went down the Rodinal route just because I can, I suppose. Maybe I should have gone 1 part to 25. I reckon 1 part to 50 might have weakened the negatives with contrast a little bit. They seem to be, I don't know, lacking maybe a little bit of punch, but they're not too bad once you scan them in and just pull the contrast slider up a little tiny bit in there. Same thing I'd do in the darkroom with filters, just pull the blacks out. They came out really nice. You can see them here, they're not branded at all on the side, so there's no edge markings whatsoever, no numbers, no markings, so it's an ideal film if people want to get this stuff in massive tins and start rebranding it, I suppose. But I don't even know where they get it from, not got a clue where this stuff's come from. And this was the second roll that I shot down at the beach while my wife was having her hair cut. I had a bit more spare time, so I went down the beach. You will notice at the start of well, these photographs, sorry, during the video, had some kind of strange light leak going on down the side. And it wasn't just the start of the film either, it was also towards the middle and the end of the roll. Now where that come from, I have not got a clue. I very much doubt that the Film Photography Project loaded it with a light leak. I very much doubt that at all. I also very much doubt that the Nikon F6 has got any leaks, because I know it hasn't. I'm wondering whether it's my darkroom tank. Maybe this was at the top of the tank, and maybe there's a little tiny tear or something in the tank which has leaked light, because as I was talking it was sitting on the side for quite a bit of time under the lights. So maybe that's, I'll have to check the tank out. But They've come out okay, just as the other one. The grain is there. I mean, this was developed in Rodinal, so the grain is there, but it's minimal. You know, it's quite a pleasing grain. It's not an ugly grain. I was expecting this film to pull out a load of rubbish from what reviews I'd read, but it ain't that bad. In fact, it's quite nice. So I can't be having leaky bloody tanks, can I? So I've put some paper inside this tank, some photographic paper. Just a bit of 5x7, had to cut it down a little tiny bit to size. So I've rolled it inside there with the emulsion facing on the inside. And I left this out in the sunlight for about half an hour. I've also had it sitting on this light as well. No matter how much light this gets, there should be no light getting inside this tank whatsoever. So, you know, I could leave this out in the Californian sunshine all day long. It should not leak any or let any light go inside it. So I'm going to use some photographic paper to see whether this tank is leaking or not. And if any of you guys haven't got a photographic paper, you could just put a few strips of film inside and do it that way. But I'm choosing this way. For me, it's the cheaper option. Let's have a go. So there's my piece of paper there. Let's see if I've got any light leaks in my tank. Oh, Johnny! We're sorry, won't you come on out, cheeky bastard. There it is after stopping and fixing. Nothing on that paper whatsoever. There's no leaks on that whatsoever. I'd see a little tiny dark streak or something going on, but there's nothing on that. So my tank's not leaking. I know the F6 doesn't leak. Interesting. So I'm just doing some little test prints here at the moment to see what this film comes out like on paper. So if we just put the focus finder on, that will see the grain for me. It's actually really fine grain. That Rodinal 1/50 with that film, it's actually quite fine grain. Let's make a little print. I'm not going to go big on the paper, but this is only 5x7s. This is the picture of the hats. Quite like that one, I don't know why. Little tiny easel I've got here, this paper. Just done a test strip, so we're going to go 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. This is with a 2.5 grade filter under the enlarger. Let's develop it. It's nice sometimes coming in here and just playing with small paper rather than the big stuff. So let's watch this one come through. The test strip showed 3 seconds. Looks all right. What's that on the paper? Get off. Bit of crap in there. See it come through now. Oh, it still fascinates me after all these years in the darkroom. It's when the print starts coming through on paper. They say it's magical, it is. It's so clever, the whole conception of it all. It's coming through quite nice. See that? Right, let's get that stopped and fixed, and I'll show you guys what it looks like on paper. It definitely seems a little low in contrast, but that possibly could have been the 1/50 that I did in Rodinal. And nothing I couldn't fix with by whacking a grade 5 or doing some split grading and getting some of these darker shades going on. But it ain't bad at all. I'm only picking holes in it. To me, if I saw that photograph anywhere, I'd think it's just a photograph of some hats. Wouldn't think anything of it. And life wouldn't have been the same without making a print of this funny bunch. I've always a nice photograph of these guys just working here. To be honest with you, I wasn't even going to take a photograph. It was only when he started saying things I turned around and took a couple of pictures. I didn't know what he said until I got back in the edit, but he was singing the song Johnny, whatever it was, from Fine Young Cannibals, which he was referring to me looking like Roland Gift from Fine Young Cannibals. Brilliant. Anyway, but that's come out quite nice. I had to use a little contrast 5 filter on that just for 1 second to pop, because there was no real contrast coming through, which is making me think that this film's quite hard to pull out any contrast. Maybe a longer development, maybe more stronger development solution as well. But I thought, let's try this film in ID11, a different developer, and this is another roll of it that I went out and shot. Developed it in ID11 at stock, and lo and behold, I've still got the leaks, look, but not as bad. It doesn't go right to the end of the roll. This time there's one there, and it starts fading away as we go. So maybe, I mean, the leader, you can see it there as well on the leader. So maybe a little bit of light's coming through the cassette. It's not very thin. I wouldn't say this film's very thin. It's thinner than HP5 and FP4 and etc. But the other rolls, I was coming all the way through even into the centre of the frame. I'm going to print this one. Let's have a look at this, a little bit of Reeves growing up a spade. And that's that one there of me spade in the garden. You can tell how much I do gardening because there's ivy growing up it. It's all right. Again, just lacks. The film seems to lack a bit of punch. I can't say no more than that really. Fine grain. You know, got detail here in the little tiny tap, but it seems to lack a little bit of punch, which is what I noticed when I was scanning the negatives. I had to sort of boost a little tiny bit of the contrast, which is, you know, I could do the same thing in the darkroom. Just going to take a bit of time to do. And because I'm using smaller paper, I want to see what it's like blown up. So you can see I've blown up, I've magnified into the ivy on top of the spade handle there. Just check the grain. This is ID 11 at stock, shot at 50 ISO. The grain's really fine. It is so fine. It's so fine I can hardly see it. It's interesting. So I'll just do a quick blow up of that one. Everything's the same, 2.5 grade filter. This is about 4 seconds. Let's see how that looks. I'm just looking to see what the grain looks like. Here it comes. And there it is there, there's a blow up. There's actually a watermark on that, which is interesting. I've blown a watermark up. If we look down this part, it's so fine. The grain's really fine. It's not the sharpest film for blowing up, but even on the blow up, the grain is pretty fine. So what do I think of this stuff? After shooting 4 rolls of it, the first roll indoors, 2 rolls outside that I showed you, and the third roll was this morning, just running around near where I live, taking some photographs and developing that one in ID 11. It ain't bad at all. I can't see what people are fussing about. I read online it's people slating the film, and then there was, I saw one forum, people were arguing over it. People were saying it's good, other people were saying no, it's not no good. Even on my Facebook page someone said to me, just stick to Orwo and Kentmere. But horses for courses, I suppose. You know, it depends what people like, what experiences they've had in the past. My experience with this film over this short couple of days I've been playing with it, it ain't bad at all. Fine grain, a little bit low on the contrast I find, and it ain't the sharpest film in the world, but it's all right. It's film, it shoots, and it works. I don't know what those light leaks were, but I'm glad it's not my tank because I've already done a little test with that I showed you. And the other thing is people saying it's easily scratched. I've been handling these negatives purposely badly. I haven't seen any scratches on them yet. I mean, no doubt if I drag them along outside my car, of course I'm going to get scratches on them. If I handle them really, really bad, I'll get scratches on them. But I've just been handling them a little bit rougher than I normally do, and I haven't seen any scratches come up on the prints or on the light box either. So it doesn't scratch as easily as some people say. Would I go and buy this stuff? Probably not. I've got my favourite films that I shoot all the time, but it's good to have, you know, been sent this stuff to play with and try out, and it's just another little string to me bow to say, yeah, I've tried that film, it ain't bad. So, you know, and that goes to anyone. If you get hold of any film, just have a little play with it and see what you think. You might like it, you might end up sticking to it, the same as I did with Orwo UN54 when I got hold of a roll of that. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great weekend. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks to everyone that supports the channel. I really do appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up if you can, give it some more support, and I'll catch you next time. I'm knackered. Won't you come on home? What is wrong in my life that I must get drunk every night? Johnny, we're sorry.